in Boulder, we like to think of ourselves as one of the most fit, forward-looking communities in the US. So I'm here tonight to get you to take a look back and maybe take up smoking. Seriously though, smoking a cigar is one of my favorite ways to kick back. And I know you might not be into the idea of lighting up a big old stogie, but hear me out. My relationship with cigars started in college. My oldest brother leads cigar tourism trips. He's the one in the blue. And I went along on some of his early ones to translate. On those trips, I came to appreciate premium cigars in ways I never would have anticipated. I stumbled into this fascinating pocket of the world and saw that there's so much to know. All the history, how they're made, who makes them, who smokes them, where, why. But before I get into any of that, I'd like to address a couple of questions that come up when I tell people that I like cigars. First, what are the health implications? Are they less unhealthy than the other things people smoke? The answer is no. They're not good for you, which I'm fine with. I also eat ice cream, which is not great for my body, but I enjoy it. Second, wait, women smoke cigars? Yes, we do. So, when I tagged along on those trips, the complexity of cigar production was one of the first things that grabbed my attention. Seeing wide open tobacco fields and hearing farmers talk about how the sandy soil in Pinar del Rio, Cuba, makes for different flavors than the dark, rich soil in Esteli, Nicaragua. Choking down the air in curing barns, where the leaves hang to dry while they're still on the farm. And reading temperature charts on pilones, where the leaves ferment for years at a time. Seeing master blenders taste different leaves, figuring out which ones to combine for the most interesting taste experiences. And seeing skilled craftspeople sort through those leaves, selecting only the most perfect ones, which then go to expert rollers who create various vitolas by hand. Rollers. I mentioned that cigars are tied up in all sorts of interesting history, and I'll give you one story right now. You may have seen the Romeo y Julieta brand of cigars, which was established in Cuba in the 1870s. In the late 1950s, early 60s, the company's owners fled Cuba because of the revolution and restarted their company in the Dominican Republic. The Cuban government, in the meantime, nationalized the cigar industry and took the Romeo y Julieta brand as its own. And both brands still exist. The Dominican Romeo y Julietas go to the US market, and the Cuban ones go to Europe and elsewhere in the world. My first cigar was an Opus X with Carlito Fuente, which maybe 2 people in this room will think is cool. The point, though, is that I learned to enjoy cigars with people who really, really love them. People whose families have toiled over tobacco for generations, whose respect for cigars and ability to savor them are on another level. Even my 20-year-old self could sense the magnitude of that love and develop my own little version of it. Cigars, at their best, allow us to sit back and ponder the world. Conversation flows with a cigar, like it can flow on a hike or a chairlift. They can allow us to pause and reflect on big moments in life, too. Things like the birth of a child or a graduation. But before I run out of time, a quick tutorial for those of you who want to try this out. When you're figuring out where to smoke a cigar, don't do it in public, especially not here in Boulder. At home, outside in your yard is probably your best bet. When you purchase a cigar, make sure the retailer has been storing it in a humidor. When you cut it, make sure you leave some curve at the end so that the leaves don't unravel. When you light it, make sure the end of the cigar looks like a full glowing penny before you sit back so it's even. And don't take the smoke into your lungs. When you're choosing a drink, find something with a clean finish so you can actually taste what you're smoking. Certain whiskeys, rums, coffee, sparkling water can all be great choices. And while you're smoking, remember that it's not a race. Just puff enough to keep it lit. Thank you for listening to me talk about the world of premium cigars. I hope to...